Title: When the Truth Comes Crashing Down. I'm Michael, 43 years old. Life was supposed to be simple, or at least, I thought it was. I married Emily when we were both fresh out of college. We had this dream, one of those idealistic ones where we'd grow old together, retire early, travel the world, and build something beautiful. The dream felt real when we had our son, Ethan. He was the joy of our lives. But as Ethan grew up and life became busier, I lost sight of something important. Emily. It didn't happen overnight. There was no grand moment of realization, just a slow, insidious drift. I got caught up in work, in the pressures of life, and maybe I stopped giving Emily the attention she deserved. She was always there, holding it all together, but I was too wrapped up in the future to notice the cracks forming in our present. Then, one evening, my whole world turned upside down. I was in the middle of my usual routine, scrolling through emails and killing time when a strange feeling hit me. Call it intuition or just sheer curiosity, but I felt like I needed to check Emily's phone. It wasn't something I'd normally do. I trusted her, up until that point, but something felt off. And sure enough, I found messages. They were harmless at first, but as I dug deeper, it became undeniable. There were texts and photos, conversations between Emily and someone I didn't know, someone she clearly had feelings for. The man was older, a business associate of hers. I recognized him from a few of our gatherings. But what struck me wasn't just the affair. It was the complete disregard she had for everything we had built. Her messages, her words, they weren't just about physical attraction. They were about something deeper, something I couldn't give her. Attention, time, emotional connection. Everything I had neglected while working for our future. It hit me like a ton of bricks. But what hit harder was the realization that Emily had been having this affair for over a year. It wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a full-on emotional and physical betrayal. And yet, when I confronted her, there was no apology, no remorse. Instead, she coldly defended herself, listing all the ways I had failed as a husband. She talked about how I was distant, how I prioritized work over her, how we stopped connecting on a deeper level. And as painful as it was, she was right. But it didn't stop there. The worst part? Our son, Ethan, knew. I didn't believe it at first when Emily casually mentioned it. But then Ethan came in, looking like a ghost, and confirmed it. He had known about the affair for months. And to make things worse, he had kept it a secret, because Emily had asked him to. She had been giving him money to stay quiet. It was all part of her plan to keep the family facade intact while she got what she wanted. I couldn't breathe. My mind raced with anger, betrayal, and disbelief. How could she do this? How could Ethan, my own flesh and blood, participate in this web of lies? I left that night. I couldn't stand to be in that house any longer. I grabbed my stuff, packed my car, and drove aimlessly. I didn't want to talk to anyone, not even Emily or Ethan. But as I drove, a part of me wondered if they were already planning their next move. What if this affair wasn't just about the money? What if Emily had been plotting this for much longer, keeping me in the dark while she built a life with someone else? The next few days were a blur. I found a small apartment, far away from everything I had known. I was alone, but I was also free. In the quiet of my new space, I had time to think. My emotions were a mess. Rage, sorrow, confusion, but also a strange sense of clarity. I had been living in a dream where I believed love was enough. But love wasn't enough for Emily. She wanted more. She needed someone who could make her feel important, someone who gave her attention. I wasn't that person anymore, and I wasn't sure I ever was. I didn't speak to Ethan or Emily after that. I severed all ties, blocked them on every platform. I couldn't deal with their lies anymore. Maybe it was childish, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive them. I wanted peace, and I knew the only way to find it was by cutting them out completely. A few weeks later, I found out that Emily had moved in with the other guy, the one she had been cheating with. Ethan, now living with her, told me she was still insisting that everything was fine, that they were just taking a break from the pressure of family. But I knew the truth. I didn't need to hear it from them. Now, I'm left to pick up the pieces of my life. I'm starting over. I have my share of the savings that Emily can't touch. It's a small comfort, but it's mine. I'm not sure what the future holds. Maybe I'll rebuild my life. Maybe I'll be alone forever. But one thing is clear. I'm not going back. Not to them. Not to that life. The betrayal runs too deep. I can't trust anyone anymore.